I'm here with Vickie on the IBM Industries booth. Vickie, IBM is doing a lot with chatbots. What's a chatbot?
Hi, Kevin. I'm glad you asked. A chatbot is a virtual agent that has been trained to understand the types of questions and issues that a utility customer might have, and the ability to answer those because it's been trained either through a typical messaging channel over their smartphone or calling into an IVR where they can be diverted into a chat rather than waiting to talk to a live person. It could be through Facebook Messenger, Alexa, Google Assistant. Really the options for interfacing with that chatbot or virtual agent are pretty much limitless. And we find that, especially in the utility industry, 80% of the calls they get are typically around account management, starting, stopping service, billing issues, when's my bill due, what's the bill amount, can I get a credit extension, and then of course storms and outages.
When I'd imagine the call volume or chat volume goes way up, right?
Ideally, the chatbot is a perfect interface during those times of stress, both on a utility's call center. They often have to plan ahead and hire overflow agents to help them handle the call volume. And many times their websites are inundated with requests for information, whereas a chatbot is available 24/7, 365.
And for folks that would be familiar with, you go to the website and this little message pops up in the corner. Hey, I'm Bob, and have a what's your question? That's the chat. That could be the chatbot.
That could be the chatbot, and chatbots are typically trained to handle a lot of the most commonly asked questions. But obviously, there are many questions that are going to be too complicated, or the chatbot simply hasn't yet been trained on those questions.
Right.
So we always offer the option in the chatbot to transfer that conversation to a live agent. And what's important there is that history of chatbot conversation is transferred right along with the customer, so the agent doesn't make you start over. Because that's probably the worst example of good customer service, is making you start from square one.
Hi, you've been switched to.
Right.
Here's Kevin, and
how can I
help you when you're back to square one?
Exactly.
Nothing like a good customer experience.
Yeah.
And now the other thing I find fascinating chatting with you earlier was the amount of analytics and IBM Watson behind the scenes, the Watson assistant to help the cognitive analytics capability of creating these chatbots.
Well, absolutely. In order to have that really robust and personalized conversation, we leverage Watson Assistant is used to help create the interface, what we call the dialogue flows that guide the conversation. But many of the answers, if you will, that the customer is seeking are going to be contained within many of the back-end systems, such as their customer service systems, for example, which contain all their billing information. But in order to get that personalized, there will be analytics that are running using machine learning to say, oh, I recognize Kevin.
And it's all in real time.
Kevin is always late on his payment, so he's probably calling.
Don't tell anyone.
He's probably calling to find out how to get an extension. And it begins the contacts, and it begins to have that really personalized conversation, because it can leverage the information that's in the existing systems. It can leverage analytics to personalize that conversation to what you care about the most.
So this is where Watson under the covers.
Watson machine learning, Watson dialogue flows, the different capabilities. We have Watson Discovery Service, which is what helps to and this is used highly in the call center, for example. It's not just customers who can benefit from a virtual agent, but if you're a call center rep and maybe you're new or maybe you're experienced, but your company has just had a new EV rate that they're offering, electric vehicle rate.
So there was no questions coming in.
And you're not trained in on it yet, but yet you get a question about what's the best EV rate for me, and using a virtual assistant within the call center, the agent asks Watson, what's the best EV rate for Kevin? And using Discovery Service, which can basically read any type of information the utility has provided, can understand that language request, process that, and bring back exactly the snippet of information that the call center rep needs to explain the EV rate to Kevin.
Wow. And all behind the scenes under the covers?
All behind the scenes under the covers.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin.